It is week 2 of the NHL season. We got fans already tossing jerseys on the ice. Injuries are taking its toll early on teams. Fans are still confused on what the hell goaltender interference is, and emotions are already running high. We're only 2 weeks in and we're buzzing. So this is what really happened in week 2 of the NHL season. So let's fire it up for Sunday. There were 16 games on before, which means that Gary just gives us one game tonight, and it's the Caps versus Rangers. If you like goals too, bad. Only one tuck in this game from Anthony Beauvillier, and that is it. Rempe tells Wilson to stay on his feet, but Charlie Lindgren was a dog in there for the Caps in between the pipes. 35 saves, shuts out the Rangers. That's the second time already this season that the Rangers got shut out at MSG, and that's all she wrote for the game and Sunday. And honestly, you could probably say the same for the Buffalo Sabres season already. Monday was kicked off with the Sabres facing the Avs, which is probably the worst team that they could get right now because Colorado is on another level. Look at the Nate dog. He puts it behind his back, just toying with these guys. Backhand Barry, see you later. He doubled down later in the game, and the Sabres could only muster a singular goal. In 3 games this season, Buffalo has only scored twice, and you got the captain saying they need to get out of this hole. Fans are throwing jerseys on the ice already, and it's just an utter disaster to start the season in Buffalo. Josh Allen is truly the only reason why the entire city isn't completely depressed. On to Tampa versus Boston, where a team wearing blue and white has a 4-1 lead in TD Garden. Nothing ever bad has happened when that's the case. Boston scores 2 goals to make the Palms a little bit sweaty for Tampa. The Lightning had a wide open net, and look at Pastrnak. This guy does everything for Boston. He scores 100 points, makes everyone better, and plays 10-2. Just an all-around heart play. Get him as the beer league starter for the fellas. Tampa does hang on, though, and the Bruins get the first L of their season. On to Ottawa, where they show us firsthand how to piss off a goalie. Opening ceremonies in Ottawa had all the Sens players skating through the crease, so UC Saros does not like that one bit. He just stands there staring like a serial killer, saying, I'm just going to lock the hell in, and that's exactly what he did. He was lights out in this one, but the biggest news is Brady Tkachuk. He eats a hit from Yossi, seemed all right enough to get in the face of him, but then left the game after the scrum. That could be a huge loss for Ottawa if it's something serious, and to make things worse, they got spanked 4-1 by the Preds. Tough day to be an Ontario team, I'll tell you that much. Let's go to Scotiabank Library, where the Yacht Club gets to watch the Leafs play the Red Wings in back-to-back games. Toronto outshoots Detroit 40-15, but how about a Cam Talbot legacy game for you? Despite blowing a 2-0 lead, Red Wings score in the final minute thanks to an assist from Austin Matthews' skate, and then they steal one in Toronto. Leafs lose, Jays lose, and Bills lose all in the same day. The parade has never been more canceled than that right there. Despite outchancing and outshooting Detroit, the Leafs offense to me has not looked good, and it's exactly what I expect after losing Marner. Forecheck reliant offense and losing one of the best playmaking wingers in the league means that scoring goals will be a chore this year for Toronto. They play a style that's way more suited for the playoffs, but they got to make it to the dance first. Now, every other fan base should be happy to hear this because the Florida Panthers have finally lost for the first time this season. And check this out. 2-2 tie game. Trevor Zegras behind the net. Bennett and Ekblad go for the hit, and whoop! Zegras, that slippery Sally, gets them in a pretzel. He centers it out in front to Couturier. What a pass, and that is the game winner. Ballsy effort from Philly for the win. That is the type of skill that Zegras can bring to the table and that Philly is betting on for the future. They add an empty netter and Christian Dvorak with an all-time cookie steal from Travis Sanheim. He's got a wide open net. This guy tips it in for the goal. He's probably yelling at Stripes afterwards to make sure they got his number for the goal and the cookie on that one. Finally, Utah was in Chicago to take on the Bedards, and the lights go out mid-play. Can't pay the electric bill, probably because you've been a lottery team for the last 5 years. I guess that's what happens. But there is another hero in Chicago emerging. It is the one they deserve, the Dark Knight himself, Spencer Knight. He stopped 22 of 23 in this one. Chicago got outshot by the Mammoth, outplayed for the most part, but the Dark Knight pulls through. Overall, they do look better than they did last year, but that is a low bar, so don't get too excited. What you can get excited for, though, now that the NHL is back, is that we can all finally go to a game, and there's nothing better than scoring a deal on tickets, which you can do through our friends at SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best app for finding deals on tickets by rating them on a scale of 1 to 10 so that you know if you're getting a good deal. If it's red, no bueno, don't touch that. If it's green, that's a gem, and you should snatch up those tickets. The season is here, which means I'm going to be surfing the app for some last-minute deals to get into Scotiabank Library and make some noise with all the suits. I might even take a gander and see if I can catch a Jays playoff game if they're still in it, and you can do the same too for your local team if you download the app. You can use code HOCKEY2025 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code HOCKEY2025. So make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so that you can use it later. Big thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring the weekly recaps. Now let's get into the mix for Tuesday's games. Now on to Tuesday, where the Montreal Canadiens have their home opener against the Seattle Kraken, and no one does it like Montreal. First, they give Lane Hutson a standing O. He signed an 8-year deal at $8.85 million a year. What a deal. That is going to be a bargain in a couple of years. Then Montreal honored the late and great Ken Dryden with a beautiful tribute. There's no place like the Bell Center, and right away the building was electric. The demigod Ivan Demidov comes with the cutback and then laser pass for the backdoor tap in. The hype around this kid is huge, and watch this. Montreal's down by 1, under 3 to go. Demidov gets the puck, head fake, Beniers loses his stick, give and go with line A. Demidov is down Main Street, clear shot. He waits, goes backhand with the Barry. Oh, that is sick. Montreal explodes and ties the game. That right there has the potential to be the SeatGeek goal of the week. The Habs complete the comeback with Cole Caulfield going short side Sarasota for the win. Montreal is vibrating with excitement. From the electricity of the Bell Center to the library, that is Scotiabank Arena. Leafs host the Preds in the most Leafs TV game ever. Toronto's offense has been bone dry but comes alive in this one. Matthews buries the give and go. That's Easton Cowan's first NHL point. The Leafs put up 7 goals, and hey, just like that, early season panic is over. Parade is back on, boys. What the hell was everyone so worried about in the first place? At least they're not the Rangers, who don't even know what their goal horn sounds like on home ice yet. Speaking of the ice, it was extremely slippery in this one. Watch Carrick go sliding into the shallow realm as Bouchard fakes him out of his pants, but Igor Shesterkin, certified leather flasher, robs him with the glove. Then Nurse's body straight up shuts down mid-play. Guy is falling on the ice by himself. Trent Frederick finally breaks the tie on the B-way, and that's about the only way you can beat Igor right now. He continues to allow 1 goal or less in each game, and the man has to be losing his mind because the Rangers get shut out for the 3rd time this season, all at home, which is a new NHL record. Mika Zibanejad doesn't know whether he should laugh or cry for the fact that the Rangers can't score. I mean, they are playing well, but they just aren't getting the results. So the circus on Broadway continues as of right now. On to the Lightning and Caps, where the Belarusian Baron Alexei protest stays hot, and really, so do the Caps in general. OT we go. Tom Wilson circles the wagon, throws a dart right onto the stick of Chychrun, and that's all she wrote. Caps moved to 3-1 on the season and look determined early this year to prove that last season was no fluke. Out west, Vegas is in Calgary, where Jack Eichel is putting on a show. Eichel, 2 goals, including this one, where he just takes her straight to the house and buries. That's your current league leader in points, ladies and gentlemen. That sweet new deal has him cooking early on here. Bad news for Vegas, though, is that Aiden Hill, their starting goalie, had to leave the game early with an injury, and they could be without a starter for some time if it is bad, which is a big hit for that team. They take this one, though, and deal with the consequences later, as Vegas remains one of the top teams in the West early on. So are the Dallas Stars, though, and they're up 3-0 on Minnesota, and boom, Middleton blows up Matt Duchene in the middle, which means we're going here right away. Drop the gloves, answer the bell, and Minnesota gets a little bit of life from that hit. The Wild have been power play machines early on this season. The Karelian gets another power play goal and an assist. Their last 9 goals have all been on the power play, which is good. It means it's clicking, but ideally they'd want to generate more offense 5-on-5. Of course, that's hard to do when Jake Ottinger is putting on a show. 38 out of 40 saves. Stars hang on and are the only team left in the West who is undefeated. Speaking of undefeated teams, the Carolina Hurricanes remain the other perfect team in the league. Pretty impressive considering they did it against the future 2026 Cup champs in the San Jose Sharks. No way to sugarcoat it. The Sharks got absolutely worked in this one. 43 shots against, 5-1 beatdown. Carolina predictably looked like wagons here early on, and the Sharks very much don't. But it's okay, Sharks fans. The Cup prophecy is still strong despite not having a single win on the season yet. Finally, it's the battle of the birds, Penguins and Ducks. How about Justin Brazeau for Pittsburgh? This guy's on fire. 4 goals in 4 games. He might go 50-50. This entire game, though, was a coach's nightmare, but a fan's dream. D-zone turnovers, back and forth rushes. This game was tied at 3 with under 2 to go, and Parker Wotherspoon tries to go off the glass and out and misses the glass. Guy is sick to his stomach, sit in the box. 2 minutes delay a game. Ducks power play steps right out and Pete, a guy from Sausage Party. Chris Kreider buries the game winner. Ducks win in their home opener, and I'll tell you right now, with the youth and talent of that Ducks team, they're going to be so much damn fun to watch for a very long time. Now, as we head into Wednesday, I'll tell you who isn't very fun to watch right now, and that is the Sabres. Tage Thompson came out and said, everyone relax, it's just 3 games. But perhaps it's the 15 years of sucking before the 3 games that has Sabres fans crashing out. Regardless, Thompson is right. They can't control the pass, so they come out strong versus Ottawa. Buffalo hasn't gotten any bounces this year except tonight. They're scoring off the glass and in. They had trouble scoring up until this game, and they explode for 8 goals in this one. Maybe that turns things around. Maybe it doesn't, but it's a good start. The Sens, by the way, may be in trouble. Brady Tkachuk could be out for a very long time with his wrist injury, and without their captain and leader, they may dig themselves into a hole that's too deep to get out and make the playoffs. You could probably say the same for Florida, but it just doesn't seem that way because they're the Cup champs and everyone knows they're going to be okay. But they are a walk-in hospital right now. They got even more injury news as defenseman Dmitry Kulikov will be out at least 5 months. That's now Tkachuk, Barkov, Nosek, and Kulikov all out of the lineup. But come on, we all know they're going to be fine, but they did feel the effects tonight. 20 of 21 shots stopped by Cam Talbot, and the Red Wings have looked fantastic since coach Todd McClellan called them out in the media. That's their 3rd win in a row. They're cooking, and they better keep cooking because I am sick of them falling off a cliff every single season. Let's go out west, shall we? It's the Utah Mammoths home opener. They revealed their new mascot, Tusky. Spoiler alert, it's a mammoth. Wow, how surprising. Utah has officially erased all traces of their previous Premier League team name, and they're ready to take the next step. They come out of the second period humming, outshooting Calgary 18-3, scoring 2 goals, and that's enough because the Flames offense is ass. There was a nice tilt in this one to try and swing the momentum back in Calgary's favor, but the goal scoring is just a chore for them. They lose 3-1. They've allowed 19 goals in their first 5 games and have now lost 4 in a row. Saddle up, Calgary. It could be a brutal season. Finally, we had the Hawks in St. Louis, and this game made me ask myself, are the Chicago Blackhawks back? Connor Bedard came out in the media and said he loved the way they played for each other out there and that they aren't taking shit from anyone this year, and it showed in this one. They were fast, structured, and confident, although it does help out when the game starts to Joel Hofer calling 1-800-PIZZA right up the middle to Ilya Mikheyev. Thanks for the tuck. Later, Frankie Nazar comes in with a little under the stick, far side goal. That's pretty. Watch this, though. Jake Neighbors says, don't touch our goalie, throws him in a WWE headlock. Chaos ensues. Nazar finds a way to come out of it and then celebrates anyways. What a prick. I absolutely love it. That's the type of FU this rivalry and the Hawks need. Bedard was dancing all night, too. He had 3 assists in this game, and he backed up his words. He and a 6'6" Colton Parayko had some beef, and he didn't back down one bit. Instead, it looked like he actually wanted more of the smoke. That's the stuff right there. Dragging his team into the fight in every possible way. Chicago wins 8-3, and it is possible we're seeing a much improved Blackhawks team at the end of Wednesday. Then we kick off Thursday with the hospital game between the Devils and Panthers. Injuries are already beating the shit out of both of these teams. We know the Panthers situation, but the Devils will be missing their starter, Jacob Markstrom, for a few weeks as well. Now, look at this. Stripes does his best Steve Harvey impression here. First, he calls it a good goal for Florida, and then he realizes he made the wrong call. It's actually no goal, and the Panthers get a delay a game penalty. Paul Maurice is just looking at him going, are you kidding me, man? What is going on here? Devils win their 3rd in a row. Panthers lose their 3rd in a row, and everyone's happy about that. The Avs, on the other hand, continue to look like the best damn team in the league. McCarr's out here zipping it by goalies. 34 going on 74 is Dwayne the Brock Nelson, but he's logging in with his first as an Av. I sat Val Nichushkin on my bench in fantasy, which of course means he was a lock for 2 goals tonight. You're welcome, Avs fans. It's a 4-1 dub over Columbus. Big story early on here is the play of Scotty Wedgwood with Mackenzie Blackwood out in goal. Wedgie is on fire back there, and the Avs fans love it. Now, the Sens season is already on life support with Tkachuk missing at least 6 to 8 weeks after having surgery, but the power of the Pinto parlay is simply too much. He buries another one for his league-leading 6th of the season, and he gets the finishing touch with a shootout winner to beat Seattle 2. That's a huge win considering no one knows how Ottawa's going to keep up without Tkachuk. Meanwhile, the Jets are on a roll trying to replicate their amazing start from last season. Mark Scheifele tees one home and ties the franchise record in goals. Goaltending was also awful in this one. Neither goalie had above an .882 save percentage. Beer League goaltending is fantastic, and the Jets, they got more firepower, so they take this one for their 3rd win in a row. That was the opposite in this one as the New York Circus comes to Toronto. The Rangers walk into Scotiabank Library being shut out in 3 of their last 5 games, while Shesterkin has allowed 1 goal or less in all 4 of his starts. This poor man's back must be unbearable right now. Anthony Stolarz, on the other hand, is dialed in. He's stopping pucks Johnny Bauer style. No mask, doesn't matter. Guy's an animal. He doesn't care. He stopped 28 of 29. This needed OT where Will Nye, the science guy, sends it to Austin Matthews for the tap-in. Matthews has 4 tucks on the season. None of them seem to come with a goalie in the net. They don't ask how, they ask how many. Leafs win, Jays win, Suits close the deal. Parade is going on in Toronto. Now, I don't know if I've seen a team with better vibes so far this season than the Bleu Blanc et Rouge Montreal Canadiens. Holy are the kids buzzing for the Habs. This one's coming down to the wire here, down 2-1 to the Preds with under 30 seconds to go. So Lane Hudson decides he wants to add a Vesna to his trophy collection. He makes a save in front of the empty net and then launches a stretch pass right to Cole Caulfield. He steps in and rips it. Tie game. Bell Center is shaking. Potential SeatGeek goal of the week right there. And you thought that was clutch? How about OT? He wants more. Suzuki, tiniest bit of none the sauce, right to Caulfield, and bang. That's all she wrote. Back-to-back OT winners for Caulfield. Montreal is buzzing to start the season. That's their 4th straight win. Let's move on to the island where the Oilers are in town, and Evan Bouchard delivers us a hand-tossed pizza early in this one. Whiffs on the deke. Barzell comes in, backhand, forehand. Roof Daddy-O Jr. 1-0. Bouchard had a tough game in general, and Oilers fans weren't happy about it. Bo Horvat for the Islanders was also feeling it. Shorthanded goal, power play goal, and then empty netter. The Island end up calling 1-800-BIG SAVE Dave Riddick to stop some pucks. 5 stars on Yelp for that man. He shuts the door, and the Islanders get their 1st win of the season. Then moving on to the West, it's the Canucks and Stars. Dallas is undefeated still, but Vancouver pops off in the second after being down by 2. 3 goals in 3.5 minutes, 4 goals in total in the second. They win 5-3 and hand Dallas their first L of the season. This means that Carolina remains the only undefeated squad in the NHL. Funniest man in hockey, Seth Jarvis, sets the tone with 2 goals, and at the end of the second, it's a Gen Z line brawl, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone grab a guy and do absolutely nothing. Couple face washes, some grapples. Even the goalies want a little bit of action, but no one wants to truly let them fly. Whatever. Hurricanes pull away in the third. They look exactly like how everyone expected them to look, and they stay perfect on the season. It's kind of the opposite for the Kings and Penguins right now. Pittsburgh is doing their best not to get Gavin McKenna. That's weird. And the Kings are ass. LA had a 2-0 lead last year. That was a win all day, but not anymore with that decor. Penguins score 3 straight to take the lead. Sid, the middle-aged man, adds the empty netter. LA is now 1-3-1 on the season, while Pittsburgh is above 500. That brings us to the main event. It's the Bruins and Golden Knights. Vegas is speed running, becoming the most hated team in sports history, signing Carter Hart earlier in the day, and they don't care. They've had a weird but good start, and Pavel Skorofiev, this guy can't stop scoring right now. It's in his name, that's why. We also saw Mark Stone try and activate the Las Vegas injured reserves. He goes face first trying to activate that LTR cheat code. Trainer tells him on the bench that the league fixed that, so no point in being hurt. He gets back out there, and Vegas pulls out a 6-5 barn burner win to end the night. Enter in the Friday night lights where the Wild and Caps get us going here. Crazy stat of the night, the Wild haven't scored a 5-on-5 goal since the season opener. Power play merchants these guys are, but they break that streak and they finally get a 5-on-5 goal, but it doesn't end up mattering anyways because the Belarusian Bear is on a tear. Alexei Protas gets another one in this game. He's going early on this year. And then Ovechkin finally gets his first of the season. Watch that snowball into a run of games where the grade 8 just starts scoring in bunches. The Caps have been dominant this season, only allowing 8 goals in 5 games, and they've won 4 in a row. That hasn't been the case here for the Tampa Bay Lightning early on, as everyone had them in the top 3 in the Atlantic, at least, maybe even some winning the division. I know I had them somewhere in that slot, but they're struggling out the gate, and they got to go without Nikita Kucherov in this one. Bad case of the sniffles will get you. So Not ideal against the Red Wings right now, who look like a completely different team early on this year. First, Sandin Pelka gets his first NHL goal. Welcome to the show, kid. Then Tampa ends up tying in the final 5-4 OT, but the captain, Dylan Larkin, says, let's go home. The Red Wings have won 4 straight, and Tampa's been extremely mid with now a 1-2-2 record. At least Tampa has a win, though, because the Sharks don't. This is actually the 3rd season in a row where the Sharks are the last team in the NHL to get their first win. They are making me look like an utter jackass for believing in the 2026 Sharks Cup prophecy, but it's still early in the season. Nothing to worry about here. Last year, they got their first win against Utah in their 10th game, but this year, it's a different story. Sharks goalies seem hell-bent on absolutely gifting the other team every single game. This time, it's Askarov's turn to deliver a fresh pizza right to O'Brien for the goal. Nick Schmaltz gets a hattie for the Mammoth. Keller gets on the sheet for his first, but hey, at least Celebrini gets the monkey off of his back. He snipes one home. However, the Sharks lose 6-3 and remain winless on the season. Now let's go to Chicago between the Blackhawks and Canucks. For the second straight game, Vancouver overcame a 2-0 first period deficit. They tie this game up, but then here we go. Another week, another goalie interference call that grinds my gears. Tyler Bertuzzi bangs one home. Nope. Call Gary. This one's coming back because they say he jammed the pad into the net. I don't know, Jim. Puck is loose, man. Barely touches him. We're going back to the days where even if you have a toenail in the crease, the goal is coming back. What are they doing to the game I once loved? This one goes to a shootout. The Brock star, Brock Besser, seals the deal. Vancouver with a gutsy win. Hawks fans are pissed. They dropped a 2-2-2 on the season. I know they've lost every game by only 1 goal, and they've looked much better, but I won't call them anything else but the Chicago Bedards unless they have a 500 or above record. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. Let's move on to hockey's holy day, which is Saturday. 13 games on, which means rapid fire. Let's ride. Sabres, Panthers. Rasmus Dahlin gives Brad Marchand the lumber. The wires cross instantly. Rat King jumps him. There's a scrum. He goes to the box, rips all of Dahlin's helmet apart, and tosses it back, saying, here, wear that. Sabres shutout the defending Cup champs 3-0. Holy boys, raise the banner in Buffalo. Now, Sens fans can thank God they got the Pinto parlay right now. He buries again a 7th goal in 6 games. Guy is red hot, but every time Ottawa scored, New York had an answer. Matthew Schaefer, the 18-year-old rookie D, is the only defenseman to start the season on a 5-game point streak. Kid's sick. Anders Lee gets the ultimate piss and vinegar goal. That is the game winner. The Island take it 5-4. If you need a little bit of a palate cleanser after seeing that greasy goal, how about Jack Hughes carving through the Oilers D like butter and scoring? That has SeatGeek goal of the week potential right there. But he was dancing all night too. Scored another gross goal later as well. Downtown Connor Brown, one final dunk on the Oilers and Bouchard. Devils win 5-3. And fun fact, it's the first time in McDavid's career he's been scoreless in the first 5 games of the season. Don't worry, Edmonton. He's just playing down to his new contract. Going to Columbus, we got a big boy tilt. 6'9" Douglas versus 6'1" Olivier, and Olivier with the takedown. Down goes Frazier. Marchenko gets one early in the 3rd. He'll take the check, please. Jackets go home with the win, and Tampa continues to struggle early. If you hate scoring or hate yourself, I do encourage you to cheer for the Nashville Predators. They muster 1 measly goal. Mark Scheifele 1T rips, and now that means he passes Blake Wheeler for the all-time points in Jets franchise history. No playoff Hellebuck tonight. He was solid. Jets are 4-1 on the year. Minnesota was in Philly, and no power play merchant work tonight for the Wild. 0-3 in this game. Flyers end up winning an OT. If only Minnesota had a $17 million game breaker. I'm just teasing, Wild fans. I love the Carillion era as much as you do. Now let's go to the Rangers and Habs. Rule number 1 of playing Montreal is don't touch Lane Hudson. Sam Carrick lays the body, and Arbor Jacki steps right up and drops the gloves. Right there's how you defend a superstar. Rangers are on the road, so that means they can actually score, and Artemi Panera gets a goal and 3 assists. 4-point night. No miracle last minute comeback for Montreal on this one. Rangers hold on 4-3. Moving on to the Kraken and Leafs, and Seattle is just teabagging the hell out of Toronto sports these last few days. This one went to OT where Josh Mahura walks by Nylander and buries to win the game, but the juicy stuff came post-game. Leafs 10 Anthony Stolarz called out pretty much the entire team's effort, and I don't blame him. They took a run at Stolarz in this game a couple times, and look at Brandon Carlo here. I've seen more of a reaction in an 11 p.m. beer league game. He sees Stolarz lose his shit, and he's like, right, I'm supposed to be mad about this. He ends up kind of jumping in, but don't worry, Leaf fans, it gets better. Mitch Marner gets his first as a goal tonight and then doubles down with a silky goal on the power play. Cancel that parade, Toronto. It ain't ever coming at this rate. Vegas Vegas dominates Calgary and wins their third in a row. At least Jonathan Huberdeau scored the only goal for Calgary. Wow, that's very nice. Now, Vegas winning is not good for the LA Kings, especially because their captain Anze Kopitar is out week to week in his retirement tour season. Despite that, they almost became the first team to beat Carolina this year. Down by 3, they came all the way back, but Seth Jarvis, OT hero, keeps the Canes undefeated. Avs are also right there, though. These guys play at 2x speed. Nate Dogg gets a pair. They dominate in shots, 38-14. Wedgwood committed all-out larceny with this glove save. The Avs are a wagon, and they hand Boston their third L in a row. Finally, I would usually call this finale the toilet bowl between the Sharks and Penguins, but Pittsburgh is playing some surprisingly good hockey. That's because Sid the middle-aged man is still tipping pucks in like an alien. Both he and Geno Malkin get 2 points in this one. Sharks are shut out and end week 2 with 0 wins on the season. So, what did you think of week 2? Who surprised you? Who pissed you off? My SeatGeek goal of the week goes to Lane Hudson and Cole Caulfield with that clutch last-minute goal to tie everything up. Let me know your goal of the week in the comments down below. Check out our breakdown on Matthew Schaefer this week. We have weekly recaps, drop every Sunday with player and team breakdowns throughout the weeks, so don't miss a thing by subscribing and turning on notifications so that you can keep up with the NHL season.